Right, well, here we are, back in Project Motor Racing again. It's been a week now since the game exploded onto the scene, and we're going to take a look today at where things are now, how they compare to when they first came out, and what I think needs to come next. So, obviously, the game came out a week ago yesterday, so obviously, when the game launched, we were given the day one patch, which everyone assumed was going to be the silver bullet to all of the game's problems. I never got to play the game in the press version, so I can't speak for what it was like on that weekend. What I can say was that day one, things were pretty rough. Everyone knows that it was a rough launch, and the day one patch, by all accounts, didn't actually seem to do anything meaningful for the state of the game. However, since then, we've had another patch. We're now on the 1.5.0.1 patch, which I think has made a really positive impact for the game. Things are in a much better state now than what they were for the first couple of days. The GT3s were largely undrivable due to the diff locking at low speeds, which was really frustrating. The LMDHs were completely undrivable. The default setups on all cars are now in a much better state. The AI has had some pretty significant work too, which has been a step in the right direction. They are better than they were on day one. On day one, they were completely unraceable. You might as well just not bother playing against them because they had no spatial awareness. They were completely moronic, and it was just a frustrating experience to try and play it offline. However, now though, they seem to have gained a lot more awareness for their surroundings. They don't just turn into you anymore like you're not there. It's not perfect. It's not AMS2 AI, but AMS2 is obviously, it's a game that's been out for 5 years now. They've tweaked and refined their AI quite a lot, and that's in a really good place. But PMR, it's a really solid baseline, I think, for future updates. So what things are looking good now in PMR? I think one of the best things about PMR is actually the force feedback. Even though in the last video I really hated on this system, and I do still think it has its flaws, I actually think the level of detail, information that you get in the force feedback once you've spent the time to figure it out is really, really good. So as I've been playing this week, I've put about 40 hours now into the game, and I've spent a lot of that time reading through the Discord, trying to get an understanding as to what to do to make the force feedback feel as good as possible. And even though they sent out a guide, which is super detailed, I don't actually think it translated really well into like the real world playing of the game. It was very difficult to understand because the way in which some of the things were written didn't really translate into how you would experience them on the track. So one of the key things that I've found to increase in the feel is actually to reduce the overall headroom. So by default, I think this is set to 150, and I've dropped the headroom right down to between 50, I think it's 50 or 60, and that for me has really, really helped to tame a lot of the left and right pulling and the crazy oscillations down the straight. It's still there and it still happens, but it makes the customization and the fine-tuning of each car a lot easier, because now I feel like all of the sliders that are available are actually useful. It's a bit like mixing a song. You have a lot of instruments and they're all fighting for which one wants to be heard the most. Once I was able to get that figured out, the game became so much more enjoyable for me. It was easy to feel what the cars were doing, and they just became so much more enjoyable to drive. I since went back to try and play a little bit of Automobilista 2, and even though it's still fun and it's still enjoyable, I still think that the fundamental issues with that game, they still exist despite all of the amazing updates that the game has received. The feeling in the cars is just, it's too slidey. It doesn't feel super realistic. One thing we can say about AMS2 is that the AI is amazing. The performance is absolutely brilliant, and it's still got all the same variety that PMR is offering us, but it's in an actually functioning package right now. And this leads me quite nicely into my next point. One of the big things that needs improvement fast is the performance. It's really bad. I'm on a RTX 3080 Ti, so not the worst graphics card in the world, and I can't run a fully maxed out AI grid right now. I've got an Intel 14600K, again, which is not the worst CPU either, but I still can't run a full 31 car grid in 4K. When you compare it to AMS2, is one of the really big letdowns. In AMS2, I can run massive 60 plus car grids, multi-class racing, and the performance will not skip a beat. But in Project Motor Racing right now, it's just not possible. For content creation, we need some big improvements to the replay system. Even though they've uncapped the frame rate,
it's fairly basic. I mean, I had some fun playing around with it in the intro at the start, which was really cool. But it'd be nice to get like a photo mode and stuff in the future, so that we can capture some really nice content from the game, because it does look really good. It's just really horribly optimized right now. Obviously, I play on PC, and from what I know, there's still a lot of issues on console. I think if they can address these quickly, obviously GT7 getting Spec 3, which I think comes out tomorrow. My honest opinion is that GT7 have done that because they have concerns about what Project Motor Racing could mean for sim racing on consoles, especially with that crossplay. I think it will be a really big thing. So where does that leave us now then, moving forward? Well, even though we've had one really amazing update, we still need more. And I think the level of communication that's coming out of the development team, even though it's there, it's not brilliant. It's too sporadic. Right now it's all happening in a channel on a Discord server, and everything is so easily lost. I would have expected a lot more honest and open communication about what was happening, what bugs they've been working on, what progress they've made, when we could expect more of these patches. But so far we're just not getting that, and I think that for me is the biggest problem right now, is that we're incredibly in the dark. And after a really disappointed launch, I think that's something that, had it been me and this had been my company, I would have been making sure that these updates were coming thick and fast. Not patches, because obviously they take time, but updates from the team as to what was happening, what progress had been made, what things had been looked at, and so on and so forth. Those are all just my random thoughts in no particular order. I just rambled for however long this video has gone on for, so if you've made it this far, huge congrats to you. I'll leave you with the rest of the video. I won't spoil the ending for you, but it's pretty interesting, let's put it that way. So until next time, thank you very much. If you found this video useful in any way, then please do like and subscribe. I know everyone always says that, and it's like it's a thing that everyone does, but it really does make a positive impact, so please do consider liking and subscribing. Take it easy, and I will catch you in the next one.